I'm joined on the line by Chris Stacey, who's from the People's Tribunal into Child Sexual Abuse. Hi, Chris, and welcome to the Politics Show.
Hi, Tony. Thanks for having me on.
Now, first of all, could you just tell us a little about your own experience and why you've got involved with the People's Tribunal?
Well, I'm a victim, or I'd call it a survivor of child sex abuse myself by a person known to me when I was a child, and I was told that that sort of thing was acceptable. I was brainwashed effectively, but as I came through into my 30s and 40s, I came to realise that there was something seriously wrong, and I've been making progress in getting out of that sort of situation. And now, seeing in the press and Tom Watson standing up in Parliament, I see that there's a lot been going on. I think a lot of us didn't know what was going on, but I feel that I can help do my little bit by helping others. So I've got involved with the UK Child Sex Abuse People's Tribunal.
Okay, now the first person to be put in charge was Elizabeth Butler-Sloss. Also, another person put in charge of the official inquiry by Theresa May. Why is it that you don't feel that's working? Because, I mean, certainly it's no surprise to any of us that there's nobody actually seems to be in charge of the official inquiry. Is this one of the reasons why you've decided to go down the route of having one which is more organised by the victims rather than by the Home Secretary?
I guess it's to do with the fact that we are not, we don't have any links with any authorities or government. I mean, I wish the whole child sex abuse campaign, in order to change the whole country and this country well, and whatever it takes. So if the authorities show more enthusiasm, then we wouldn't need to be doing this kind of job. So whatever it takes, the People's Tribunal will have a panel led by Michael Mansfield and with John Cooper on board as well, who are eminent QCs, and they will have a look at and investigate what is alleged to be widespread institutional abuse, as people will have seen in the press, and some leading MPs have also talked about it. So. Just getting it out there. Meanwhile, though, it doesn't stop people and survivors in particular coming forward and giving their evidence. They can come and talk to us, although we're not taking evidence at this stage. But it's giving survivors a voice, however it happens. And survivors, if they've got evidence, go to the police. It's quite obvious that when there's convictions, as in with that ex-DJ Ray Terrett, more people came out of the woodwork. So it's just one way of encouraging survivors to come forward and give evidence. But obviously the People's Tribunal ultimately is an investigation into what appears to be widespread institutional abuse and failure to stop it, and quite possibly sort of complicity in allowing it to happen. So. That's where we're coming from, essentially. Okay. And I'm involved in building towards the main panel coming into place sometime next year. It's not going to be a quick sort of operation, but we have survivors on board, and we are very determined that we want to get to the truth. And if you get to the truth, you get rid of the rumours and some of the conspiracy theories about trying to make this country a better place, I think.
Okay, tell us a bit more about Michael Mansfield and John Cooper, the two QCs which are going to be heading up this People's Tribunal.
They're both extremely eminent. They have experience of other People's Tribunals to do with atrocities in Iran. The People's Tribunal is formed by the people and has no links to government or authorities, and although it has no legal power, it can make a statement and give a voice to the people, for the people that it's investigating on behalf of. For example, the victims or families of murdered Iranians during the 1980s. People may have heard of Michael Mansfield and John Cooper. John Cooper is regularly on LBC talking about issues and has a long history of successful cases. Michael Mansfield's been involved with a number of cases, including Jill Dando's murder, the miners' strike and getting the miners off, being charged to do with the Battle of Orgreave. The list of cases in his case, IRA, people being accused of IRA murders where they weren't actually involved. It just goes on and on. So two very eminent people and a number of other people will be invited onto the panel, and they will take the evidence, and they will. I'm quite certain they will produce a very damning report at the end of it.
Okay, one of the most frustrating things about this, of course, is that we keep hearing about people like Cyril Smith and Jimmy Savile till the cows come home. They're dead. What about the prospect of possibly arresting, putting on trial some living child sexual abusers who are on this list of prominent people? Because I can imagine for you and others it has a very, very terrible effect when there's this impunity, when abusers are left for years and years without actually ever having their collars felt at all by the police. That must have a pretty awful effect on the victims. Yeah,
absolutely, and it also for everybody. I mean, it's not just the victims feeling bad about it, and it's whether the people in power, the paedophiles who have power, they may be high profile or they may not be. It is, and this kind of project that the People's Tribunal is looking to help not just child sex abuse victims, but also it may well have an effect on the institutions and the vacuum, maybe even the political vacuum that exists at the moment. So I'm well aware that organisations like Exaro News are taking evidence and producing stories which end up in the mainstream media, and the police are investigating living high-profile figures, but all too slowly. And as a victim, I have a problem, or survivor, I have a problem with trust. So I want the charges to happen as soon as possible. And I think everybody does, with their cynicism about people in positions of power. It's not everybody in positions of power, but it makes the whole system smell. You know, there are, believe it or not, good politicians out there and good people in authority, but they can't do their job properly if they've got some people who shouldn't be in public life and should be being charged, personally, I think.
Is there any reason why you think that people in high office have been... is there any kind of sort of centre of power where people who maybe should have been being charged haven't? Because this seems to be the biggest problem is if you've got somebody, say, for example, as a Home Secretary, if they're supposed to be doing the investigating, but actually they're involved in abuse in some way. How do we get over this?
I think it's a massive cat's cradle. It's not everybody. Some people will, some other people in high powers will turn a blind eye because they're more interested in keeping their own position in power. I think you keep investigating, and most importantly, survivors out there, if you're listening, come forward and talk to somebody that you trust. You can come and talk to us, or go to Exaro News, or any organisation out there, or go and talk to the police with support, because the more evidence is out there, the more chance there is of people in high-profile paedophiles or low-profile paedophiles are being prosecuted and being brought to justice. Just as I say, as a survivor myself, just come forward.
I'm sure some people will. How do people get in touch with the People's Tribunal, Chris? I know you said that they'll be at least starting your work really in the new year, but you're interested initially to make initial contacts with anybody who feels they've got a raw deal, having come forward before or have never come forward before. How do people get in touch?
Well, we've got a website which we've just launched, which is www.thepeoplestribunal.org.uk, and on there's a contact page, and survivors can email in on survivorsupport@thepeoplestribunal.org.uk, or it's easily findable on Google. So, and it's up and working, and we have people who will respond to survivors, and they are survivors themselves, so they know what they're talking about.
OK, it's Chris Stacey from the People's Tribunal into Child Sexual Abuse. Thanks very much for joining us on the Politics Show today.
Well, thanks very much, Tony, for having me on.
You can listen again to any shows at bcfmradio.com and leave comments about your favourite programmes. BCFM 93.2, your interactive station 24 hours a day.
And that website again was thepeoplestribunal.org.uk. No doubt they'll have a phone number when they start hearing evidence, etc., next year.